Hello everybody and welcome back to Lost Planeswalker. You are here with me, Jesse, the Lost Planeswalker, and I'm super excited to show you all those great Modern Horizons 3 spoilers today. This is going to be very quick. We're going to see a lot of cards and keep it interesting. So let's start off by looking at those legendary Eldrazi we got with Kozilek, the Broken Reality, and Ulamog, the Defiler. Kozilek here, 9-drop, legendary creature. When you cast a spell, up to 2 target players manifest 2 cards from their hands. For each card manifested this way, you draw a card. And then other colorless creatures you control get +3/+2. This is big, it's powerful. If you manifest your cards, they're going to get buffed, so they're going to be 5/4s, which is pretty cool with Kozilek on the board. In addition, you can make your opponent put stuff onto the board, and then you get to draw cards equal to that. So if you put 2 and your opponent puts 2, you get to draw 4 cards. That's pretty cool. Ulamog the Defiler, 10-drop, legendary creature Eldrazi. When you cast a spell, target opponent exiles half their library rounded up. Ward, sack 2 permanents. Ulamog enters battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. And Ulamog has Annihilator X, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it. Obviously, this is a very big creature. It's going to get very powerful if it stays on the board, so you want to remove it, but they added that protection with Ward there, making you have to sack your own permanents to remove it. So overall, really cool card. If you can get up to 10 mana and cast this and it's not countered, boy, this is going to deal a lot to your library and potentially to the player. So that seems pretty powerful. Either you have to sack 2 of your permanents or Annihilator X for who knows how many. I know what I'm going to do. Next, we're going to talk about some of the special guest cards here with a return of all of the elemental incarnations from Modern Horizons 2. So we got Endurance, Fury, Grief, Subtlety, and Solitude. Very cool thing we're getting here. In addition, we're also getting these in these retro frames. So we're getting 2 new art treatments for each of these. Obviously, Fury got banned in Modern, so the price on it is really low. So these will probably stay pretty low. But all the other ones are still legal and expensive. So these are all great hits, you know, especially if you like those special guest arts and the retro frames. So very cool. Talking about another set of cards here, we have the Medallion Cycle. So we got Emerald Medallion, Ruby Medallion, Jet Medallion, Sapphire, and Pearl. Now, obviously, all of these discount a color of their choice, making it 1 mana less to cast, and these are going straight into Modern. I don't know how this is going to impact the game. Modern's already a pretty low curve format, so I don't know if, you know, an artifact like this is going to be worthwhile. Potentially, I see this in those big control decks that end up having to cast things for a lot of mana, and being able to discount that stuff and do it sooner seems pretty powerful. But next, some of the ones I'm most excited for are the flip planeswalkers we are getting, the 2-color planeswalkers. We were already shown a Johnny, and in addition, we're getting Tamiyo, Inquisitive Student, Sorin of House Markov, Ral, Monsoon Mage, Grist, Voracious, Larva. These are all super cool, powerful things that then transform into legendary planeswalkers. So very quickly, Tamiyo here has flying. When it attacks, you investigate, and when you draw your 3rd card in a turn, exile it and return it. Sorin here has lifelink and extort, one of my favorite fun mechanics. It's not that powerful, but I'm glad it's here. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, if you've gained 3 or more life this turn, exile Sorin, then return him to the battlefield transformed. Ral here makes your instant sorceries less, which is great. One of the easiest one of these planeswalkers to flip, if the luck is on your side here, just having to cast a spell to flip him will transform him. And Grist here, pretty situational, Death Touch, and when it or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if it entered from your graveyard or you cast it from your graveyard, you may pay a green. If you do, then you flip it. So very interesting set of conditions all these have to meet. But Tamiyo here, Seasoned Scholar, Sorin, Ravenous, Neonate, Ral, Leyline Prodigy, and Grist the Plague Swarm. So Tamiyo here, +2 until the end of your next turn. Whenever a creature attacks you or planeswalker you control, it gets -1/-0 until end of turn. -3, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a green card, add 1 mana of any color. And -7, draw cards equal to half of the number of cards in your library, rounded up. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. Very cool card, very powerful uptick abilities. Sorin here has extort as well when he's flipped over, which is very fun. +2, create a food. -1, Sorin deals damage equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn to any target. Very easy way to just one-shot an opponent in any format if you can gain enough life. And -6, gain control of target creature. It becomes a vampire in addition to its other types. Put a lifelink counter on it if you control a white permanent other than this creature. So very cool way to steal and deal some damage. Ral Leyline Prodigy says when it enters with an additional loyalty counter on him for each instant sorcery you've cast this turn. +1 until your next turn instant sorcery spells you cast costs 1 less to cast. -2, Ral deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. Draw a card. If you control a blue permanent other than Ral. And -8, exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may cast instant and sorcery spells from among them without paying their mana costs. And lastly here, Grist the Plague Swarm. Legendary Planeswalker Grist. +1, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then mill 2 cards. Put a death touch counter on the token if a black card was milled this way. -2, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And -6, for each creature card in your graveyard, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 black and green insect. That one I'm particularly interested in. Obviously, milling a bunch of stuff into your graveyard, and then -6ing this is going to give you a copy of everything, even though it's going to be a teeny tiny black and green insect. Now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about some cool new legendary creatures that we're getting that are surely going to build some really fun decks with. First off, we have Pearl Ear Imperial Advisor. 1 white legendary creature Fox Advisor with lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras, meaning they cost 1 less to cast for each aura you control. And whenever you cast an aura spell that targets a modified permanent you control, draw a card. This is just Lightpaws 2.0. I don't know if it's necessarily stronger. I think Lightpaws being able to search is stronger, but I think that this is a very fun card you can play in place of Lightpaws on a commander deck per se. But in Modern, this seems pretty great. Just casting more auras, get something even bigger, drawing more cards off of that seems pretty powerful. It's a 3-drop, so it's pretty reasonable, and I can't wait to see what this does. The addition of lifelink is also very nice, being able to buff this up and then attack to gain a ton of life. Eldamri is next with Eldamri Gorvekdal. 1 green legendary creature elf warrior with you may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. 2 of my favorite things to be printed on a creature, so I'm very excited for this. But for a single green tap 2 untapped creatures you control, reveal a card from your hand or the top of your library. You may reveal a creature card this way, put it onto the battlefield, activate only during your turn. Eldamri here is pretty sick. Just having to tap a couple creatures, including Eldamri here, to play any creature, put it on the battlefield, not even tapped, seems cool. I mean, you're going to need to play something that has an ETB, because we don't know if it's going to be able to stick around, but that is excellent. This is a very fun card, and I can't wait to see what people do with it. But a card I'm already building, and I'm going to try and do a commander deck video as soon as I possibly can. Here is Arna Kenrund Sky Captain. I don't know if I said that right at all, but 2 generic white, blue, black legendary creature human knight with flying and lifelink. Ward, discard a card, and whenever modified creature you control attacks, double the number of each kind of counter on it. Then for each non-token permanent attached to it, create a token that's a copy of this permanent attached to that creature. My mind went instantly, and I don't know why, to bestow creatures. Obviously, +1/+1's gonna be good. Obviously, auras are gonna be good. Bestow creatures are really unique, because when they fall off, because you can cast them as an aura, they just enter as creatures onto the board, and this copies them. So if you can get a bunch of creatures out there, make, I don't know, 3 or 4 copies of them, and then the creature that it's on is destroyed, you just make 4 more creatures. So I think that this is a pretty interesting strategy, and then have a bunch of creatures fall off from auras to creatures again, and you can swing out and deal massive amounts of damage. So very cool commander. I can't wait to see what other people do, but stay tuned. Very, very soon, I'm going to be doing a video about this probably in the next day or 2. So if you want to see how I build that, there you go. Now, next up, I want to talk about some returning creatures. Maybe these were commander creatures or just older creatures that they are reprinting. We're getting some very fun versions with Brea, Ethereum Shaper, Kirk, Son of Yawgmoth, and Kalia of the Vast. 3 very cool, very powerful commander creatures that I think are now all coming into Modern for the first time. So this is very, very interesting. Brea, Ethereum Shaper, white, blue, black, red legendary creature. When Brea, Ethereal Shaper enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 blue Thopter artifact creature tokens with flying. 2 sack 2 artifacts, choose 1. It deals 3 damage to target player or planeswalker. Target creature gets -4/-4 until end of turn, or you gain 5 life. I know that this is a commander favorite. We're getting a bunch of cool frames here. I love this new art. She's like wearing like a jacket. I don't know where this is supposed to be necessarily, but I really like it. Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. 4 Phyrexian black, Phyrexian black, Phyrexian black. Legendary creature, Phyrexian horror minion with lifelink. For each black in a cost, you may pay 2 life rather than pay that mana. And whenever you cast a black spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Crick, Son of Yawgmoth. This is a commander favorite. This is a very cool card. I love this new art, especially this full border. This might be like one of the side view cards that I'm actually super excited about, because it actually looks really decent compared to a lot of them. So very cool there. And Kalia of the Vast. 1 red, white, black ledger creature, human cleric with flying, and whenever it attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. I don't feel like I need to explain what this card does. I mean, I feel like everybody who's ever played Magic within a certain, amount has seen this card, either looked at brewing it or seen it on a table. It's a very, very cool card. And yeah, I'm super excited we're getting it again, especially with these cool new arts. Now, very quickly, I want to run through the rest of those special guest cards with Thought-Knot Seer, Prismatic Ending, Dismember, Persist, and Explosive Iteration. I think we're going to get some more here, but those are some very nice ones to be getting. And lastly today, I want to talk about the last cycle that we received, which are the free spells we're getting from this set. I know we've been very excited because we've already gotten Flare of Denial and Flare of Cultivation, but we've also received Flare of Fortitude, Flare of Malice, and Flare of Duplication. So Flare of Fortitude says sack a non-token white creature rather than paying the spell's mana cost. Until in a turn, your life total can't change and permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. Incredible. I love this. I mean, this, I think, rivals any of the other ones. I think this is very, very strong. Flare of Malice, 2 black instant. You may sack a non-token black creature rather than paying the spell's mana cost. Each opponent sacks a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. This is okay. I think this works very well in black decks, so I think the 4 mana there makes sense because you're already going to want to be sacking a lot of stuff in black decks, but I don't think that this is necessarily the strongest. I think actually this might be the weakest. I really like Flare of Cultivation. I think that is really, really powerful in green decks, especially if you're playing super fast. And lastly, Flare of Duplication, 1 red instant. You may sack a non-token red creature rather than paying the spell's mana cost. Copy target instant or sorcery. You may choose new targets for the copy. Yeah, this is great. I think this kind of is perfectly set up for Flare of Denial because you're going to be countering a spell. Guess what? I'm going to sack my red permanent and counter your counter. So this seems great. I love all these, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I tried to keep this as brief as possible. We got so many great cards. We also got some really cool commander cards. So I'm going to be talking about all the commanders, what they do, and seeing all that in a video very soon after this one comes out. So stay tuned for that. But I just like to say thank you so much for watching. Please consider leaving a comment down below saying what your favorite card was or a card you're hoping to get maybe a new version of. If you would please leave a like, share this with a friend, and subscribe. That would mean the world to me. So thank you. And today's Scryfall card of the day is Giant Octopus. At the sight of the thing, the calamari vendor's eyes went wide, but from fear or avarice, none could tell. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you later, Planeswalkers.